Welcome to White Knuckle, an addictive climbing horror game of speed, skill, and survival. Today we're diving deep into basic mechanics, items and tools that can help you on your ascent, and go over what hazards you need to be aware of. Stick around to the end and we'll even go over some sneaky cheats and secrets that'll help you conquer the game and make it to Habitation Yellow. Let's jump right in. Learning to jump will increase your speed and survivability in White Knuckle. It may be the difference between falling into the ooze and getting to Habitation Yellow. Jumping can also open a few routes that you may not have been able to access with normal climbing. To jump from a handhold, simply press space as if you were on the ground. You can even move your arms around to get momentum and raise yourself a bit higher than you could standing to get a higher jump. Throughout your ascent, you may come across some roaches, platinum and gold bugs that may draw your eye. While they can be a little bit of a hassle to catch sometimes, it definitely is worth it, as they are effectively White Knuckle's currency. In certain rooms in your ascent, a vending machine may spawn. This is where you deposit your roaches, in which you can convert them into tools, food, and other useful items. The platinum roaches are worth 5, and the gold roaches are worth 1. When attempting to catch roaches, be sure not to step on them or crush them against the wall, as they will die and you will not be able to get them. Finally, keep an eye out for the elusive red roach. They have the unique ability of blowing up. The last thing I wanted to cover for basic mechanics is the inventory. The inventory lets you store up to 12 items plus your hammer before you start to slow down. When you place an item in your inventory, after this 12, it will slowly turn red, and the more and more items you have, the more it will slow you down. The first tool I'd like to talk about is the piton. It's the most common tool in White Knuckle, and there's a surprising amount of depth to it. Placing a piton on a wall and hammering it in will give you a new handhold wherever you can reach. You can climb on the piton without completely securing it, but it may fall out while climbing. Without hammering the piton at all, you get about a 2/3 of a second window to climb. One swing, you can climb for 3.3 seconds. 2 swings, you get 7.5 seconds of climb time, and a 3rd swing will further secure the piton, leaving it with an indefinite climb time. This climb time is cumulative. If you were to hammer the piton in 2 times and held onto it for 2 seconds, you'd be only left with 5.5 seconds of time remaining on that piton. You can take not hammering the piton a step further by placing it mid-jump and grabbing it with your offhand to jump off it again. I call this the piton jump. It's very difficult to pull off, but it is faster. It's not very helpful, but if you're a speedrunner, at least you know it's an option. This is made significantly easier with the next tool, the auto piton. The auto piton is just like the piton, except, well, it's automatic. It drills itself in and fully secures itself, no hammering required. The auto piton allows you to quickly place a handhold where hammering may not be an option, and if you're falling and quick enough, you may even be able to catch yourself with it. The next tool to go over is the rebar. It has a few variants, but we'll start with the unmodified classic. The rebar can be thrown to create a handhold at a distance. This throw can kill some enemies and activates buttons as well, leading to an easy interlude. Throwing the rebar in the middle of a jump gives you a significant boost in the opposite direction. You can use this to skip sections or reach handholds that you can't reach with a normal jump. The next rebar is the explosive rebar. A bomb strapped to the normal rebar allows it to kill a large group of enemies, or send yourself flying. You can use this to rocket jump or explosion boost to skip sections or get large amounts of distance. Moving on to the final tool of the rebar family is the rope rebar. A length of rope wrapped around a rebar that when thrown will unspool, allowing you to climb it. The rope rebar has all the benefits of the normal rebar, plus the added range of the rope. The final tool to cover is the humble brick. Throw this object to kill creatures, or, similar to the rebar boost, throw it to get a small amount of height. The bricks will kill a barnacle in 2 hits, a blood bug in 1, and they'll break any boards in your way. The first of the items or enhancements is the pill bottle. This black bottle, upon taking it, increases your maximum stamina for 40 seconds. It's by quite a large amount. Next up is the adrenaline needle. Using it will grant you a speed and a jump boost for the next 15 seconds, although it will slowly decay over time, getting weaker and weaker. This is, however, quite powerful and can be used in sections such as the pipe organ to speed past areas with lots of holes. I won't waste time talking about the cans of food. The tutorial does a pretty good job explaining those, but I will cover the more rare granola bar. Just like the canned food, it fully restores your stamina, while having the same effect of the pills and the adrenaline at just a lesser degree. Finally, the grub empowers you with both guilt and guts, allowing you to climb any surface as if it was a hold. This state lasts for 10 seconds, and if you run out while holding a wall, you do not drop immediately, and instead hang onto the wall until you either fall or grab another hold. The first hazard to cover is probably the most complex, the barnacle. This enemy functions similarly to the barnacle from the Half-Life franchise, where, upon touching its tendrils, you'll be pulled in and devoured. This only goes for your body, however. Your hands are fair game, and you can climb on his tendrils as an impromptu handhold. If there are any tendrils in your way, you can hit them with your hammer to make them retract, or throw physics props into them. That'll distract them for a while. If you hold on to a barnacle's tendril as you hammer it, it will retract with you attached, which can be very useful for certain rooms. Following the barnacle is everyone's least favorite, the blood bug. The blood bug will follow you relentlessly, and upon hitting you will make you lose your grip. This attack pushes you a bit too, so it may knock you off ledges. Blood bugs can be killed in 3 hammer hits, or with a single brick or rebar. Next creature really isn't a hazard, but it can kill you. The gas bag is just a floating little guy that hangs out mostly in the waist heat area. Jumping on the gas bag can allow you to skip sections and get some extra height. It does deal a small amount of damage, so if you're almost dead, be careful. Jumping on the gas bag will shoot you in the opposite direction of where you were going, so be careful not to hit the side or underside of the gas bags, or it could prove fatal. The final Pipeworks hazard is steam. Similarly to the blood bug, getting hit with steam will deal a small amount of damage and cause you to lose your grip. It also pushes you a fair distance when it hits. Steam has a pretty recognizable sound cue leading up to the pipe spraying, so try and pay attention when you're climbing in the pipe organ. You can use the blowing power of steam to your advantage in specific situations to get more height or distance. Next up is the Crusher, which as the name implies, will crush you. This is found in the Shattered Chambers, and acts as a mechanic to slow the player down or force you to think about your timing. But as most hazards are in White Knuckle, if you play risky, you can use the crushers to your advantage, using them as holds to reach areas without items. Throughout the making of this video, I used several cheats to help me record things and make a few things easier to find. You can activate cheats by pressing Shift and tilde, that's the button next to 1 on your keyboard, and you can type a variety of things. I've got a list on screen of the most helpful ones I used. Death Goo Stop specifically stops the ooze from rising, so it's very helpful if you want to practice rooms. I should mention that using cheats forfeits any score in your run and prevents you from getting achievements. So I would recommend them just for practice or exploration. And while we are on the topic of exploration, while you are on your ascent, if you have the time, be sure to explore. You may find secrets that can help you on your way up. And finally, I would just like to take time to thank the nice folks at the White Knuckle Discord, as well as the developers at Dark Machine Games. I highly recommend supporting them on Patreon, which will get you access to the version of the game that I am playing, which has a few extra things, such as a developer playground and some new rooms. If you see something in my game that's not in yours, that's probably the reason. Again, if you'd like to access additional content for this game, please support the developers on Patreon. I have a link in the description. You can also download the demo and wishlist the full game. I hope that this guide was helpful, and if it was, I'll see you in Habitation Yellow. Thanks for watching.